Welcome to Must Love Fabric and our new block of the month, Home for the Holidays. Our block of the month is a 6-month, $10 a month quilt that every month for 6 months you'll get 6 different segments with instructions and fabric to put a part of it together. The finished quilt, as shown behind me, is 54 inches by 70 inches. It begins this week and it will end in October with block number 6. Today, we're going to start with the 2 wreath blocks that are in the corners, and that's for the first month's kit. It goes on from there into segments that are built, and you can see there are opportunities for embellishment in the ornaments over here. You can embellish the stockings, maybe with names, the packages the same way. The other ornaments over here, we've left blank space for adding embellishments. The trees would be beautiful with some lights on them or some sparkly rhinestones. And same thing with the house. You can make the house your own, put an address on it, put Santa in the window, something welcome on the door, any number of things that you might want to add. So today we're going to start with the wreath blocks. And it is basically a 9-patch quilt block. And I'm going to show you how to make the half square triangles that are the green and the cream colored. We start with these squares. To make a half square triangle, you make a diagonal line through the center of the block from one corner to the other, and then stitch a perfect 1/4 inch on each side of that line. And you can see I've done that with the green right sides together with the background fabric, and with 2 of them for this one block. When you're making 2 blocks, you would be making double that. So you'll be making 4 of these blocks. So this is already sewn, and what we do to complete the half square triangle is we will cut down our marked line down the center. And then I'll go to the iron and press these. And all pressing on this block is pressed toward the darker fabric. So it will be pressed this way and then trimmed to the proper size. We have sewn and trimmed our half square triangles so that they're in each corner. And we trimmed them with a square ruler that's really handy if you have one of these that has a diagonal 45-degree angle line running through the center. It's really helpful to use that as your guideline on the seam when you trim the blocks down to the size they need to be to put it together. So the only thing missing is our 1/4 square triangle or hourglass that makes the bow for this wreath. And we make that by starting the same way that we did with the half square triangle, by drawing a line, diagonal line from corner to corner, and then stitching a perfect 1/4 inch on each side of the line like railroad tracks. And next we'll cut into it, cut them apart through the drawn line, and press the fabric toward the dark side. And I'll join you next to show you what we do next. So we have the 2 half square triangles, and we're going to make a 1/4 square triangle out of these. They are pressed with the toward the dark fabric. So now we lay them one on top of the other so that opposite fabrics are matching and that you can feel these seams dovetailing into each other so that it will match perfectly. Next, we'll draw a diagonal line across from the other diagonal, the diagonal that is not sewn. we'll draw a line again through that and sew on either side a 1/4 inch and cut it apart, and we'll have our hourglass triangles.
Oh, you're fine, and I touched when I brought.
When you're sewing,
You know, the minute
if you're sewing on the lines, make sure that you sew
sew
just a little to the left of the 1/4 inch line for precision, and it will get you the perfect 1/4 inch seam. A 1/4 inch seam is something you need to practice and make sure that if you're using a 1/4 inch foot, that you are eyeing it perfectly to get that exact seam, because you want your 1/4 inch seams to be equal throughout the whole quilt in order for one section of it to piece with another and fit. So practice your 1/4 inch foot if that's what you're using, or if you're doing the method of moving your needle to the proper position, make sure that it's not a generous 1/4 inch and as precise to 1/4 inch as you can. So we have that second set of stitch lines finished, and now I'm going to cut through the middle to make our half square triangles. And the lucky thing is this will make you 2 blocks, so you can use the second one for your second wreath block, and voila, there it is. This will be trimmed down to fit in the bottom section of the quilt block, and then it will be ready to be sewn together. When it's trimmed down, it'll fit perfectly in there, and that's what I'll do right now. We finished the 1/4 square triangle sewing, and now you can see that it looks like an hourglass block. It's been trimmed down to size. Be sure to use your diagonal lines on your ruler to make sure that you're getting it square so that the middle is right in the center. And this block will go in the bottom to be our bow in our wreath. Finish the block by sewing each row together in itself. Row 1, the 3 pieces together, and press the seams toward the inside. Row 2 is the 3 solid blocks, the green, the background, and another green, and press those so it goes toward the dark. So those seams will go to the outside. And then the final 3rd row, you press the seams toward the inside. That way the seams will dovetail each other when you sew them together. You'll sew row 1 to 2, and then sew row 3 to the top section, and your block will be complete. Remember, you're making 2 blocks this month, and next month we'll see what comes up next. Again, this is our block of the month called Home for the Holidays from Must Love Fabric. It is 6 months, $10 each month, and each month you will get a different segment to put together. In October, you'll be ready to finish it, and you can add borders to it. It's a 50 inch by, what are the dimensions? It is 54 inches by 70 inches, so there's plenty of room to add a border on it if you want to make it larger. And we saved some of the fabrics for you to purchase for backing when you're finished. And next month, we'll see you back for another YouTube video on how to make the next segment.